The rain fell in heavy sheets, turning Riverstone Road into a slick, shining ribbon under the dim street lights. Evelyn clutched the wheel, heart racing, but her eyes never left Derek, sitting beside her, his hand brushing hers. They laughed softly, sharing dreams of a future far from this town, a life filled with freedom and love, children playing in the sunlight, a home filled with warmth. Every word they spoke seemed to seal their bond tighter, a connection neither time nor fate could break. Then, without warning, headlights blazed from behind, a truck skidding wildly on the wet asphalt. Evelyn swerved desperately, tires screaming against the rain-slicked road. The world tilted, and the car spun violently before plunging into the cold, roaring river below. Water crashed over them, icy and unforgiving. Evelyn fought to keep her head above the surface, gasping and thrashing, but Derek was gone, pulled under by the current's brutal grip. She struggled, panic clawing at her, until strong hands grabbed her, dragging her to safety. She coughed and shivered, eyes wide with terror, scanning the river for him. But Derek was gone, swallowed by the dark water. Her heart pounded with fear and disbelief, and in that moment, a chilling emptiness settled over her life. Evelyn returned to an empty house, the silence pressing down on her like a weight. The news that Derek was dead felt impossible, as if the world itself had betrayed her. Every corner of the home reminded her of him, his laughter, the way he used to lean against the doorframe, the small notes he left behind. But her grief was not hers alone to bear. Vincent Langston and Carla Langston, Derek's parents, stood cold and calculating. Their eyes held no sympathy, only the sharp glint of greed. They spoke of recklessness, of how Evelyn had caused Derek's death by poor judgment. Her pleas and protests fell on deaf ears. With firm, unforgiving words, they stripped her of the house, her belongings, and her inheritance. The walls that once felt like safety now felt like a prison of betrayal. Evelyn wandered the streets, each step heavy with sorrow. Memories of Derek haunted her at every turn, his voice in the wind, his smile in passing strangers. Nights were the hardest, filled with dreams of the life that had been stolen. Alone, without support or guidance, she struggled to find a way forward, each day a battle between despair and the faint spark of survival that refused to die. Evelyn arrived in Charleston with nothing but a small suitcase and a heart full of sorrow. She found work at a small hospital as a nurse, long hours and low pay barely covering her rent, but it gave her purpose and a way to survive. Each day, she moved through the motions, keeping Derek alive in her heart, speaking his name only in whispers to herself, clinging to memories that felt both painful and precious. One rainy evening, she met Marcus Reed, a gentle man with a quiet kindness. He noticed her struggle and offered help, guiding her to a small, affordable room and showing her simple ways to make life a little easier. His support was never intrusive, just a steady presence she could rely on while she rebuilt herself piece by piece. Meanwhile, somewhere far from Charleston, Derek lived under the name Nathan Pierce. He had survived the river but carried no memory of the past 10 years. Every day he wandered through towns and jobs, a man searching for something he could not name. The world had moved on without him, yet fate had not finished weaving their story. Evelyn fought to survive in shadows, while the man she loved lived unaware of the life they had shared. Nathan walked along the quiet streets of the lakeside town, the early morning mist curling around his feet. A sudden image flashed in his mind, Evelyn's face, bright and full of life, smiling at him in the sunlight. He shook his head, trying to clear it, but the memory lingered, stubborn and urgent. Over the next days, fragments came more clearly, the cold river, the panic in her eyes, the way her hand had felt in his. Her voice echoed in his dreams, soft and pleading, calling him back to a life he could not fully remember. He began searching in small ways, asking locals if they knew anyone from his past, following fleeting clues that made him question what he had lost. Nights were the hardest, dreams replayed the accident, the water pulling him under, and a vague sense of betrayal he could not name. His heart ached with a longing he could not explain, a pull toward someone he could barely recall. Each new memory added weight to his steps, yet hope flickered in his chest. He knew something important had been taken from him, and that someone, somewhere, waited for him. The feeling of reunion grew stronger with each passing day. Nathan's car rolled slowly into Riverstone, the town looking both familiar and strange after 10 long years. Every street corner, every old building, brought flickers of memory, laughs with Evelyn, plans they had made, the river that had nearly taken him. But when he went to his old home, it was empty. Evelyn was gone, vanished as if she had left him long ago. A wave of guilt and sorrow washed over him. The Langstons were still in control, running the family business with the same cold efficiency. They smiled politely to the townspeople, spreading the story that Evelyn had abandoned him, leaving no trace behind. Nathan's blood boiled with anger as he realized the lies they had told, the lives they had manipulated for their own gain. Through old acquaintances, he began to uncover the truth. Neighbors whispered of Vincent and Carla's greed, of how they had taken everything from Evelyn and hidden her away. Each revelation added fuel to Nathan's determination. He could no longer be passive. He would reclaim his life, his family, and most importantly, Evelyn. The quiet streets of Riverstone hid betrayal, but Nathan's resolve was growing, sharp and unstoppable. Evelyn's apartment was small and dim, the paint peeling from the walls and the windows streaked with grime. She moved through her days quietly, working long shifts at the hospital, cooking simple meals, and counting every dollar to make ends meet. Her hands were tired, her body worn, but her spirit, though battered, refused to break. She had learned to survive, to carry on even when the world seemed determined to crush her. Despite the hardships, a spark of hope remained. Whispers in the town spoke of a man who looked like Derek, walking the streets, asking questions, searching for something, or someone. At first, Evelyn dismissed it, afraid of disappointment, but each passing day the rumors persisted, and her heart could not ignore them. She found herself glancing at every stranger, searching for the familiar warmth of his eyes, the shape of his smile. The idea that Derek might still be alive, that he might be coming back for her, kept her awake at night. Somewhere, Nathan was drawing closer, every step measured, every plan deliberate. The air seemed charged, heavy with anticipation. Evelyn's world, though shadowed, was about to collide with the truth she had longed for. Nathan pushed open the door of the small clinic, the scent of antiseptic and quiet chatter filling the air. And there she was, Evelyn, focused on her work, handing medicine to a patient, her hair slightly messy, her eyes tired but bright. For a moment, neither moved. Then recognition hit them both like a lightning bolt. Evelyn's hands froze on the tray, and Nathan's chest tightened as he took a cautious step forward. When their eyes met fully, all the years of pain and longing spilled over. Tears ran freely down Evelyn's face as Nathan reached out, and she collapsed into his arms. Their hug was desperate and tender, a lifetime of lost moments held in a single embrace. Words faltered, broken and choked, as they whispered each other's names, hardly believing this moment was real. Slowly, they began to recount the 10 lost years, Derek's survival, the lost memories, Evelyn's struggles, and the Langstons' lies and betrayal. Nathan's identity returned with every detail, every memory Evelyn shared. Anger, sorrow, and relief mixed in a powerful rush, binding them closer than ever. In that small clinic, amid the hum of life around them, they realized that love had survived, and betrayal would not define their story. Nathan and Evelyn sat together in the quiet of a small rented room, maps and notes spread across the table. Every detail mattered, the Langstons' daily routines, the times they left the house, the people they trusted. They traced the paths of Vincent and Carla, noting their habits and weaknesses. Every glance, every word overheard, became a piece of a larger puzzle. They studied financial records, discovered hidden accounts, and traced the ways the Langstons had manipulated business deals to take what was never theirs. Patience became their weapon. They would not act in haste, every move had to be precise, calculated, and effective. Evelyn's resolve, once battered, now burned with a quiet fierceness, while Nathan's mind sharpened with purpose. At night, they whispered strategies, imagining every possible outcome, every reaction from the Langstons. The air between them was charged, a mix of tension, anticipation, and simmering anger. They knew that the path to justice would not be easy, but the thought of exposing the lies, reclaiming their home, and finally confronting those who had wronged them filled them with determination. Every heartbeat carried the promise of revenge. Every glance between them reinforced their bond. Together, they would reclaim what was theirs, and the Langstons' reign of betrayal would end. Nathan and Evelyn stepped into the Grand Langston estate, their presence quiet but commanding. Vincent and Carla looked up, surprised, their smiles faltering as they saw the couple together, confident and determined. Nathan's voice was steady as he began to speak, recounting the truth with calm precision. Derek had survived the river, Evelyn had done nothing wrong. Every lie, every act of greed and betrayal was revealed, documented with evidence they had carefully collected over weeks. Guests and family allies watched in stunned silence as hidden crimes came to light, accounts that had been siphoned, false statements made to neighbors, and manipulations meant to destroy Evelyn. Vincent tried to deny it, his voice rising with panic, while Carla's face twisted with fear. Every excuse faltered under the weight of truth. Nathan and Evelyn's courage left no room for deception, no space for resistance. One by one, the Langstons' lies crumbled in front of the people who had trusted them. Their power, built on betrayal, collapsed within hours. Nathan reclaimed his family name, and Evelyn's honor was restored. In the cold, silent aftermath, justice settled like a weight lifted. The couple stood together, victorious, while the Langstons could only watch, powerless, as the life they had tried to steal was returned to its rightful owners. Nathan and Evelyn returned to the Langston estate, not as victims, but as the rightful owners. The house, once cold and filled with lies, now felt alive again, echoing with hope and possibility. They restored the rooms with care, filling them with warmth, light, and memories of love that had endured against all odds. They also reached out to the children affected by the past, offering guidance, support, and a chance at a life they had been denied. Some were distant at first, hurt by years of deception, but slowly, trust grew, and bonds formed. Evelyn and Nathan found joy in nurturing, in healing the wounds that others had caused. One evening, they walked together along the riverbank, the same river that had tested their love so cruelly years ago. The water flowed quietly, reflecting the soft light of the setting sun. Hand in hand, they spoke little, letting the peace of the moment fill the space between them. Their eyes met, full of unspoken understanding and relief, hearts finally at rest. Some loves are lost in the current, but true love always finds its way back, Nathan whispered. Evelyn smiled, tears glistening, knowing their journey had ended in justice, redemption, and the promise of a life rebuilt together.